Guys, we finally managed to get a working version of the Immortal Blade build. Now, this is a build, okay, that I've wanted to do since this game mode launched, but no matter how much I've tried, the base melee form Blade build has just never really been viable. You've never really truly been able to reach immortality while also having meaningful damage. But as you can see now, guys, we're on Nightmare 300 and it's finally here, okay? There's finally a build that you can genuinely never die on, even on Nightmare 300, and you can actually shred through the mob. This is Nightmare 300, and I don't have to kite. You can quite literally sit in the middle of all the mobs. I very rarely even go down to one health pack, and you can also kill them all as well. I'm up to 400 kills already. We're about to clear this in under a minute, which is actually pretty good. And guys, you'll see on wave 4, yes, you also can survive on wave 4. I'm just so happy because, look, this is an off-meta build, and the reason why is the boss damage is severely lacking with this build, all right? No matter how much I've tried testing it, the melee-only, no-ult Blade build, you're immortal, and you do great AoE damage, so it has a lot of uses, but it's off-meta primarily because you can face tank a boss. You can face tank the Nightmare 300 bosses, and you will not die. But you will not beat the Enrage timer, sadly, no matter how much damage I tried putting into this build. You will just not beat the Enrage timer. However, your mob clearing is S tier. As you can see, it is exceptionally good, especially because you won't die. So you could duo with literally anyone, a Thor, a Punisher, a Squirrel, quite literally anyone, because they will not die. They will not die. They can just watch you take all the aggro from every mob in the game, still kill them while also not dying, and even on bosses, you can fully face tank the boss. As you can see, it's been 2 minutes now, we're still going through it, and I haven't had to kite once. It's actually viable now, guys. You can actually be the full face tank Immortal Blade build that actually puts points into defense for the first time in the tree, guys. That it's actually viable to take some points out of the output boost, which you'll see when I go to the traits, and actually put it into defense. And the reason why I figured this might be viable now is when you're upgrading your exclusive, you gain more damage reduction. When I saw that, I realized, you know what, maybe the Immortal Blade build might actually be viable now. And for all that is good in this world, guys, it is finally viable, and it's actually quite enjoyable. It's a great way to just have fun. It's an off-meta build because of your lacking boss damage, but that's the only reason it's off-meta. Your mob farming is great. For solo runs, it's up to like 200, up to like Nightmare 280 plus. Solo, it's good because you will have the boss damage, but it's just once you get to like 280 to 300, that's when it becomes difficult to do it solo, primarily because of your lacking boss damage. Now, you could go for a hybrid and put a ultimate ability exclusive on for a bit more of the hybrid build, which you could do if you want some more boss damage. But that's not the focus for today's build, guys. Today's build is to focus on a bit more of a fun off-meta build that that lets you literally face tank everything. I made videos about like the Thor Immortal build where you have tons of bonus health. But even this build is more immortal than that because you can actually just face tank all the damage in the game. Round 4, which is supposed to be the hardest wave in the game besides the bosses, you can quite literally face tank all of it and just not die. I haven't had to kite once and it's over. Under 4 minutes too, which is great. Sadly, you don't have the boss damage. There's no point in me doing the boss, guys. You don't beat the Enrage timer. But it's a very fun build. Let's get to the traits and the gear. So for the traits, I'm going to quickly scroll through it so you guys can just copy it down. Now, you will notice, guys, for the very first time, I'm actually putting points into defense. By the way, just for you guys that don't know, you put it into ability extra damage boost, not primary, because all your damage is in your Daywalker Dash, which is an ability. So that's why you put it into there. If you don't use your Daywalker Dash, you won't be doing really any damage. And you'll see when we get to the gear. But I actually put points into armor, so my damage reduction is actually at 80%. I took points out of output boost because on the upper end, like, I mean, you could, if you wanted, you could put into output boost. This is only about 2 to 3% more damage reduction, as opposed to like maybe 30 to 40% more of the output boost. But I just find that with this build, I have enough damage on mob clearing. I'd like to go with the extra armor just to ensure I don't actually have to think about dying. It's quite enjoyable. It's fun. It's a personal preference. But if you wanted, you can take these points out of armor and put them into output boost. If you're finding you're not even close to dying at all, you could find, if depending on what wave you're on and what your gear's looking like, you could even have better gear than me. You could take some points out of armor and you can put it back into output boost. But I personal preference, like to keep it in armor value. Gear, okay. You need to have unfazed enhancement twice at least. I mean, you could put it on this piece of gear here as well. I was thinking about it, and I might do some testing of that too. Instead of honed edge, I have another unfazed enhancement. But unfazed enhancement is extremely powerful because with all the upgrades, you just dash so many times. And the most important part is your Daywalker dash is all your damage. And each slash's damage bonus plus 0.41, which is 41% more damage on every slash. Every spin is 41% more damage, and you're spinning an additional 42 times on top of however many the base is. So you're spinning for a lot. You're getting a massive damage increase. So you need to have at least 2 of these. You could try 3. I personally still need to experiment with that, but you can try with 3 as well. But 2 or 3 is where you want to go for the unfazed. Any less and the build severely lacks damage. You need to have these unfazed enhancement. Your Daywalker dash is all your damage. Total damage bonus, extremely important. Extremely important that you have one on each piece of gear. As is with most builds right now, you need to have these total damage bonuses. One on each piece is really important. There's really only 3 traits you actually want. 3 traits that you would ever consider with this build. And it's the 3 traits that are on the exclusive. Swift Edge for Ancestral Sword attack speed, Unfazed enhancement, and Honed Edge enhancement. These are the only 3 traits you want on all your gear for this build. These are the only 3 ability traits. Nothing more than these 3. As you can see, I have combinations of all 3 of them on all pieces of my gear. For this build, I went with crits. I have a 90% crit rate and a 4200 crit damage. You can go with precision as well, but I do think crit is a bit better because you have like more consistent damage with this build. I think crit is a bit better, but you can do precision as well. I'm sure it would work out just fine. Besides that, you just want bonus damage against close range enemies, which I do prefer over boss damage because bonus damage against close range enemies impacts everyone, whereas boss damage just impacts bosses. So I wouldn't actually go with boss damage for this build just because the close range damage is better because it helps on bosses as well as mobs. So there's no reason why you'd go with boss damage over the close range damage. You're full melee. You're full melee, no range. So you'd want to go with close range damage over boss damage. Besides that, there is something really important for your armor piece. Your armor piece, to make this build work, guys, your armor piece actually matters a lot. It has to be good. It has to be good. You need to have, must have these traits I have on the gear here. You could be lacking, I would say, the health number of 2000. Without that, this would still work on Nightmare 300, but you need those other ones. You need the armor value for the damage reduction. You need the health restored upon defeating enemies. Probably the most important one here, besides the health percent, is the health restored upon defeating an enemy, because that's how you consistently keep your lifesteal going, is as you shred the enemies, you keep your health gen going. So sometimes you don't even have to use health packs. And then the healing rune cooldown reduction, you don't want more healing charges because as you burn through them, you'll eventually run out. With the healing rune cooldown reduction, you never run out with this build. You'll never run out. You'll always have heals available because you don't have to use them that frequently. So you'll never run out. And then you want health percent, also very important. The health number is the one thing that I could say is swapped out here, but the rest are just extremely important. For the Arcana, this is normally, like last update, Arcana was always just go for damage. But now, there are 2 right here, Iron Body and Indomitable. If you see these 2 traits with this build, you go with it. And this applies to a lot of builds in the game right now, with some exceptions, being like the Moon Knight Glider build, where you don't take any damage to begin with. So this doesn't really matter that much. But the thing is, like when you have when the damage bonuses are like 1700%, what's an extra 10% on top of 1700%? 1710% versus a 5% damage reduction is extremely valuable. extremely valuable relative, like 10% more damage when you already do 1700% more, or 5% more damage reduction on your health bar. That's just so much more like valuable with most builds that care about their life. Because some builds, like, you don't care about your life, but with this build, like, your tankiness is everything, and so it applies more so. Always go with a 15% health bonus or a 5% damage reduction. These other two are useless. If you get one of these, I'd go with a damage bonus all the time, any day. But if you get Iron Body or Indomitable, go with that one. That's it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed this off-meta build, please let me know and tell me what you guys want to see next. But yeah, guys, I'll catch you in the next one.